Hi guys, how's it going? Ivano here with a little PvP commentary. This is an arena I played the other day, and as you can see loading into the match, it looks like we are in a 2 versus 3 today. So we're going to be fighting an uphill battle. Of course, the first thing you always want to do if you enter an arena is come up with a game plan. Who is your first target going to be and who is the enemy likely to target? So going into this game, I was a little bit rusty. This was a warm-up game. I think it was my first game of the day playing on the German server Tulak Hord. I'm playing as Vigilance Guardian, so the mirror class of the Vengeance Juggernaut. So what I was hoping to see on the enemy team is a lot of melee, but looks like that's not happening today. They have 2 ranged. So since I'm playing Juggernaut, I expect to be the first target here. So I will try to play a little bit defensive out of the opening, whereas on the enemy team, the only way we can really win is if they make mistakes. They have 2 DPS players, we have only 1. So it's going to be an uphill battle, but let's see what we can do. My game plan then was to kind of run into the arena, try not to get absolutely one-shot by the assassin, and then target either the mercenary healer or the commando DPS, because if I can be on top of one of the ranged players, then the assassin will have to come to me and I will have 2 targets that I can AoE. But without further ado, let's look at the footage. What I like to do when I play arena is I take Reflect instead of Mad Dash. That's always nice, it gives you just a little bit more survivability. So we're running into the game. I hope to make the enemy come to me here so we can fight somewhere in a space where I can AoE them. But it looks like my healer didn't get the memo, he stays too far away from me. So I want to help him, I want to make sure he doesn't get one shot. But it looks actually like the enemy changes their plan and they're gonna attack me instead. And we go with our game plan here. Immediate mass taunt, which doesn't really do anything because enemy is hitting us. So we're going on the commando here because that forces the assassin to come close. Obviously assassin, they mostly have melee range attacks, meaning that if they want to hit you they need to be very close. So by hitting the commando here I can almost always get my AoE damage on 2 targets. But it looks like the assassin has other plans. The assassin just goes for my healer here, so I'm thinking, what should I do? I push the commando into the group and I get a nice dodge spread on 3 people. And now the AoE carnage can begin. So that's something you can do as Guardian. You can put your dots on a target, line them up, and then push them into their own teammates. And that way you can AoE them all down. So you can see we have dots ticking now. I'm deciding to switch to the assassin here, because the commando just popped this Reflect. And it looks like the assassin is just standing there, he is not moving. So I'm not sure if he has a disconnect or something is happening. But in the arena, of course, there's no mercy, so we take him down. And now it's a 2v2, so a little bit more fair. We know this commando has already used his Reflect, so we should be targeting him. Using our taunts, because he's hitting our healer. Now he swaps onto us. So it's really just about keeping the dots on him at all times. Resetting the cooldown of our slam. And slamming as often as possible. Now the commando and the healer, they play it a little bit better. They're netting me, they're hitting me, I'm close to dying here. But I'm not too worried because I still have my cooldowns. Now I'm popping my stacks, they heal me to full. And those 2 guys now they're playing it better. They're not standing, right on top of each other. Which means I cannot really hit them. Now I do the same thing, I push him towards his healer and the healer makes a mistake. My push actually was not far enough. But that just depends on the terrain of the arena sometimes. But the healer walked into my dot spread, which I think at this time actually didn't spread any dots. But nevertheless, I got the AoE on 2 people. So now I decide to nade the healer because the commando is getting low. But the commando plays it well. He pops hydraulics and runs away. This is exactly what you should do. Because when the healer is CC'd, that's when we can kill him, right? So he played it actually well. And now looks like they CC'd my healer here. But we are alive, we still have Reflect and everything, we're not too worried at this point. And here they make their last and fatal mistake. They decide to stack. Never do that against the Vengeance Jugg. Or Vigilance Guardian in that case, because if you can hit 2 targets, then the damage is simply too much. One of them will die. Of course we're focusing on the commando in this case, because we know he already popped all of his defensive cooldowns. So don't do anything random like switching targets at this point. Yeah, actually the commando lives long enough, so he has his Reflect again. We quickly swap to our healer here and do the Guardian Leap on him, because he was getting very low. I should use my taunts a little bit more, to be honest. Like you can see, my taunts are off cooldown here. I simply don't use them because I focus very hard on doing the maximum amount of DPS that I can, keeping everything on cooldown as good as I can. You can see here in the middle of the screen my focus bar. Everything is always on cooldown. This is how you maximize your DPS. But yeah, I mean, it was the first game of the day, warm-up game, I guess. So my taunt usage could really be better this game. But yeah, with a little bit of CC, my healer actually did a very nice CC there at some point on the enemy healer. We managed to get some pressure. We managed to basically win the round. Now at this point it's, you know, me and my healer versus only the healer, so there's no way we're dying. And eventually the game will go into acid, and of course we're gonna win it. So I'm relaxed, I'm chatting here. Looks like some guys now joined the arena for the second round, but the healer has not given up yet. It's fine. I mean, you know, some time ago I used to get annoyed at that because there's, you know, really outside of a disconnect, maybe no way he will win this game. And of course it's not rated or anything, so the win doesn't really mean that much, to be honest. So why doesn't he just type /stuck and, you know, gives up the game? But he tries his hardest, he pops all his cooldowns perfectly one after another. That's how you want to do it. So it actually takes a long time to kill him. My healer is helping a little bit with the DPS, and now we go into acid. If you don't know what it does, it basically just puts a debuff on everyone that gets touched by the acid and makes it so the healing that you receive gets less and less. So if it gets to that point, you know, a healer is obviously at a disadvantage, and me as a DPS, we will win that. So there you could see the acid is coming in. Now we have this debuff. You can see it here next to my medals. That means less healing. It's stacking, so it gets worse and worse. And eventually we managed to catch up with this guy. He fought valiantly. Unfortunately, just made a couple of mistakes that cost his team the game. So a 2v3 win. I think we got some pretty decent DPS out of it as well. You know, which mostly was down to the enemy team making just a couple of mistakes and over 6 million damage at one arena round. It's also quite nice. So next round is 4v4. Obviously anything can happen, but you know, based on how the last round went, I expect that the enemy team will go for me again. Usually if you get top DPS with, you know, like a large margin, then in the second round you're going to be the first target. That's at least what happens in my experience in, you know, 80% of the arenas. And it's a good strategy. I mean, as Juggernaut, you are definitely a DPS threat, but you're also relatively squishy. You don't really have a way out of combat, you know, similar to how an assassin could stealth out. So targeting a Juggernaut first is always good, you know, unless they're a tank. But nevertheless, we jump in. We're not going to be intimidated. We're going to be the ones doing damage. And I think in this game, my brain disconnected or something, because I get this spread off, and now I get targeted by the concealment, I get rooted, I can't move, it's really annoying. And yeah, we're doing some good damage here, but at some point I just brain fart. And there's like a couple of global cooldowns where I don't really do much. Also this knockback was really annoying. We managed to get the first kill, so I guess that's good. I could be using my taunts here. So there's always something you can do better. I mean, you know, no one is perfect, and I certainly am not. Oh, yeah, here, this is the moment. So yeah, so I get rooted. I mean, they are on me, but this defensive cooldown was kind of wasted, to be honest. So I decided to push this guy, isolating him from his healer. Okay, that was a decent play. And, you know, at this point the game is almost won. So, pretty okay gameplay. Not the best, not the worst. But a win nevertheless. So, that's it for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Please don't forget to leave it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.